Welcome back. If it is joining us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. An explosion rocks a football viewing center in Adamawa State, killing scores of people. New video believed to be that of the Chibok schoolgirls shows students appealing to federal government to facilitate their release. Resident doctors begin nationwide warning strike today, call on federal government to pay their entitlements. And 2 Italian priests and a Canadian nun freed after 2 months of captivity. You can read up more on our top stories on our websites, ChannelsTV.com and on YouTube.com/channelsweb. To get us on the move, visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. Also interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android and Windows 8 platforms. So if you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap on the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. The Independent National Electoral Commission has extended the continuous voter registration taking place in 10 states by 2 days. The exercise, which was originally scheduled to end on Sunday, June 1st, 2014, will now run until Tuesday, June 3rd, 2014 in Taraba, Gombe, Zamfara, Kebbi, Benue, Kogi, Abia, Enugu, Akwa Ibom, and Bayelsa states. The Commission says the extension is in view of the huge turnout of prospective registrants, and it is intended to give a fair chance to all eligible persons. Meanwhile, ahead of Nigeria's general elections next year, expectations are high that the Independent Electoral Commission will improve on the success of past processes, as some Nigerians who observe the just concluded general elections in South Africa are of the view that there are lessons to be learned from the South African processes, while retaining the originality of Nigeria's electoral system. Our correspondent in South Africa, Betty Dibia, tells us more.
These are just some of the fun parts of many months of tedious work, controversies, mistakes, corrections.
These elections were not perfect. No election is. We have managed the process.
Many non-South African observers were quite impressed.
I wish my country would borrow a leaf from them.
There's a conduct of the parties. There's some sort of healthy competition. And I think that's what political parties in Nigeria need to really understand, by playing by the rules of the game.
Nigeria's general elections come up next year, and all eyes are on INEC to deliver.
I would hope that INEC has got the funding right now for what it needs to do for 2015. I would hope that INEC has in place a voter education process. It's not just about saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. It's also about engaging the people of Nigeria, the citizens, getting them to understand that it's their civic duty to come out and vote, and ensuring that they are able to register, making that easy for them to register and to take part in the process. So I think that's really important, that if INEC could begin to do that now, that would mean that we'll have a more credible election in 2015.
2011 elections were conducted very peacefully, and it's the hope of everybody that INEC, which has the constitutional responsibility to conduct elections, and these federal elections in Nigeria, will improve on their performance of 2011.
The man who led the ANC national campaign team to victory is Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba. He has a word for political parties across Africa.
I don't think South Africa would be that arrogant to say that we can teach anybody that much. But the little that we can share with our fellow African countries, we are willing to share. focus on your plans. Sell what is best about yourselves. Don't focus on the opposition. It's not going to bring you any more vote. Secondly, be very visible on the ground. Work hard, visit households, talk to people directly. Ultimately, the voters don't interact with politicians and base their decisions on what politicians said on TV or newspapers or radio stations, but it is through direct voter contact that you win elections.
2016 is local government elections in South Africa, and winners and losers alike are already poised to hit the ground running to gain more crucial ground. Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
On to yet another looming crisis, this time in the health sector, as the National Association of Resident Doctors has begun a 4-day warning strike over the federal government's failure to meet up with its demands. The association had earlier this year closed down all the hospitals, demanding that the federal government implement the agreement it signed with the association in 2013. Our correspondent reports that the federal hospitals are to remain closed from tomorrow, June the 2nd, to Thursday, June the 5th, 2014.
Various agreements signed by the federal government with the doctors include improved salary package for resident doctors at the Federal Medical Center in Owerri, the Imo State capital, southeast Nigeria. Payment of the consolidated medical salary structure, as well as the residency training for the health professionals.
These are issues that, as far as NAD is concerned, we are not willing to shift ground. This is it. And because of that, because we've seen clearly that the government is not being, the Ministry of Health in particular, let me categorize, let me be specific. The Ministry of Health in particular is not willing, is not committed to resolving these matters. We are going to embark on our warning strike from tomorrow 8 a.m. Monday, 2nd June 2014. NAD members are going to embark on warning strike. We'll come back to work on Thursday, 5th of June 2014 by 8 a.m.
The union seems passionate with the services they render, especially at this period of insecurity issues in the country, particularly in the volatile north.
We are not unmindful of the security challenges our country is facing. We are Nigerians. And it's for this that we've instructed our members in all parts of this country to be on alert. Should any incident happen in any part of this country, any city or any town, where we have a center where our members are, we are instructing them to go back to work immediately to offer service to Nigerians. We are not going to be intimidated. We are not going to be blackmailed. We are not taking a partisan cause that has been used before. They say we are not with anybody. We are pursuing what is rightfully ours, in the interest of our profession, in the interest of our members, in the interest of Nigerians. Let peace reign.
The warning strike is taking its toll on patients at the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, with most of them seen lying down outside their wards helplessly. The doctors have resolved to totally ground health services in the country by the end of June, indefinitely, if government fails to act on its demands.
Meanwhile, the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, has threatened to embark on a national strike if the leadership crisis rocking one of its subsidiaries is not resolved. At a press briefing in Lagos, the union's leadership claims that the lingering crisis in the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has terribly affected the morale of the workers. NUPENG is also asking the federal government to intervene within 14 days, warning of a total breakdown of its services if nothing is done. Recently, 2 presidents were elected by 2 factions in IPMAN, a situation NUPENG describes as unhealthy for the workers.
To clear these issues, comrades, 60% of IPMAN members are members of NUPENG family. The collective bargaining agreement CBA signed with IPMAN and our IMB members is yet to be implemented for the past 10 years. Due to the leadership crisis that has become the hallmark of IPMAN. The past leadership of IPMAN has also frustrated our effort towards the unionization of our members in all the depots, inclusive NIPCO depot. It is against this background that we cannot fold our hands and allow our members in IPMAN to suffer. We have written several letters to the federal government, the NNPC, and the state security services to intervene. As a union, we cannot continue to watch the abuse of our judiciary processes, which is supposed to be the hope of the common man. We are really disturbed by the judgment passed by the High Court. We condemn the judgment in its entirety and still stand by the judgment of the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt.
To workers in a different sector, this time the civil service, about 2,700 of them of the Abia state government who were sent packing from service in the wake of the last minimum wage struggle in the state have been recalled to duty. They were dropped from the payroll of the state government on the grounds that they were not indigents. The good news was delivered by the state's head of service, Godson Adiele, in Umuahia, where he urged the reinstated workers to show more commitment to duty.
2 years ago, these jubilant faces were in shock to hear their services were no longer needed by the state government, just because they were not from the state. But today, the story is different as they scan through the list pasted on the wall of the office of the head of service for their names. When the state government found it difficult to handle the enormous size of its payroll due to the meager internally generated revenue available, it became imperative to cut down its workforce.
He is a man of the people. Yes. And in his magnanimity, he has decided that you will re-engage to your jobs with immediate effect. You know that a number of people were engaged and disengaged, but you have now been re-engaged. Their papers have been prepared and issued. You will collect them now and report to your former places of duty. But I want to tell you that you must be dedicated to the job. If we find you going to start trading as was the case before, we'll flush you out.
One after the other, their names are called and the excited workers file out to receive their letters of reinstatement, full of appreciation for the government of Governor Theodore Orji.
From Imo State, we are disengaged since 2011, October 1st. We are very, very happy that we are receiving our letter today and to resume work on June 2nd.
The effort by the state government to recall these 2,700 disengaged non-indigent workers is a step which would go a long way towards minimizing unemployment and improving the lives of the workers.
When the News at 10 returns, Art Review takes a look at the exhibition of Roland Idubo, tagged Rebirth. Do join us again.